Um, this video is going to be a bit long. I'm just going to go over every trade from beginning to end. I'm also going to I'm also going to explain like how I traded it from start to finish. Um, Hopefully, it's not too long. But for anyone who watches this, I hope you learn something from it. But I do these videos solely for myself to learn from. But if you benefit from it, um, good job, I guess. But I was feeling under the weather yesterday or last night. Um, uh, and I woke up late for the market. Um, I was gonna do a watch list for my for all the stocks that I wanted to watch, but I was just not feeling well, so I decided not to. Um, but this morning when I woke up around like 10, 30 minutes after the market opened, I got up and I just started watching shit just to see what was gonna happen. And I noticed one thing I've noticed was that almost all the stocks were practically doing the same thing. I wasn't really interested in shorting Friday because Friday is a day where stocks squeeze like a lot, and I was anticipating that. But it did. A lot of stocks did squeeze. Excuse me. But um, ended up fading off and not ever bouncing again. So I noticed this trend, and I look to take advantage of it. So with ticker symbol HIMS, um, I've been watching it for like 2, 3 days now. The flow is 23 mil. The outstanding is 181. I didn't even know that or don't remember that. But um, I don't remember the news. But I wasn't even looking at the news when I first saw it. It was really just what caught my attention, and I'll show you here. Uh, okay. Um, it was the fact that um, it was a second Green Day. Um, I think this one had resistance. Okay, so it didn't have resistance. I can't remember everything that I was thinking of, but before it broke, I can show you here. Before it broke previous high day, which is should be somewhere. Yeah, so before it broke this previous high day right here at 2019, um, when I was watching it today, right here, I believe. Let me put these triangles up so you can see more clearly. So I shorted right here with 200 shares. Of course, I didn't go with a lot of size. I'm not going to feel comfortable with that. And if my entry was at 1920, 2019 was really my main risk. So I'm not going to short with a lot of size. Um, I shorted it because it was like kind of like consolidating. It did like a flagpole pattern where it was just going sideways a little bit. So I shorted it and then it started spiking. Um, I covered quickly. I wasn't in with a lot of size, so I wasn't really worried about trying to make my gains back, holding, not cutting losses quickly or um, trying to hold the stock, hoping that it would fall down, pull back so that I can make back my losses. Um, when I realized, like, when I'm in with small size, I'm able to cut losses quicker because I'm not worried about how much money I'm losing. Um, uh, um, so I sold the 200 right here, as you can see, and then I bought another 200 here. Now this is where I fucked up. I bought 200 shares here at roughly, one 100 shares got executed at $20. Another one got executed at 1996. I was anticipating that it was going to break the previous high day, which was 2019, and it did. It went to 20 high day 2021 exactly. And as you can see here, this is a high day as well in green, low days in red. Um, but I was up like $140 or $50, and well, I had lost 67 bucks here, and I was up a decent amount. I don't know if on my second trade it was 140 or this one was 140, but I made back my losses and some. But I failed to, yeah, I think it was 140. It was or $100 or 120. But failed to take singles. I went for a home run. I was up over $1 per share. So yeah, I was up $100. Doing the math in my head, or over $100, and I failed to um, sell my shares and take my gains. So I ended up not selling here at the top when I had two chances right here, as you can see in this candlestick, and right here in this candlestick, to cover, to sell. Excuse me. And I ended up selling right here. If it shows you at like roughly, I'll say in a $20.40 to 45 cent, and I only profited 26 bucks. I mean, I made back my losses with, I think it was like 60. If you do the math from here to here, that was about, I um, covered at 37, so that's 60 $70 loss, and I made back that money plus the 26, um, when I could have made back more, but that's my fault. Um, and then I don't know if I was thinking about shorting here, but I know I didn't. Um, I just sold all my shares here, um, 200. But I noticed that it just started tanking and just fading. And and then I was looking at many other stocks, such as, let me look at my scanner here. Um, there was one stock I was looking at, right here. This stock right here. Just will switch with it. Okay, it's not switching, but let me see if I can find it. This stock right here did the same thing. Um, Once it loads, I'll be able to show you. It did the same thing where it had a nice run up. I mean, it did have a big panic and a big run up, then a panic and another run up. But I noticed this stock did the same thing: run up, fade. There's another stock I was watching. It might be in this list here. I'm not sure, but there was quite a few stocks doing the same trend. And then that's when I got into ticker symbol tops. I was looking through my scanner to see which stocks were giving me the pattern that I was looking for and the opportunity that I was looking for. Um, and I noticed tops was one of them. Um, I doubt I tried the long. Did I? Okay, yeah. So I tried the long it. I remember now. Um, well, before I even go to tops, Hims had. I know Hims haven't has an offering. Let me show you the offering first before I go on to tops. I like to show the offering so that I can remind myself to look at the offering and to understand how offerings can play a major role in your trading. Um, and then, okay, so right here it had an offering back in last month, literally last month, the 29th of 2020. And it had an offering of 33.6 million shares and warrants at 9.7 million shares. Um, um, I guess they can. I guess it's not. It shouldn't. I don't think it's at a certain price. They did emerge for sure. I'm not going to read this entire thing here. I do want to learn more about it, but uh, they did have an offering, so that kind of convinced me to put it on my watch. It's too short, but um, when I was watching it and I tried to short it, it just didn't give me what I was looking for. And it started spiking up some more, and it created a newer high for the day. So I knew it was going to create a newer high, so that's when I longed it right here as it broke out past its previous high, and I covered. Um, anytime a stock breaks past its previous high, um, there could potentially be a big run up. You want to cover right after it breaks the high. But if it doesn't have an offering and it's a really low float stock and it's moving like a low float stock, then there's opportunity. I don't know about the second green day, but I know at least the first green day when it breaks the high a day, it will run up by a lot. Um, I did want higher than 21, but it didn't give me that, and I should be more disciplined to take singles, not home runs. But now going on to tops. Um, Tops. Let's do the statistics first on tops. And remember, Yahoo Finance is not accurate. You have to go in the SEC filings to know the flow and the outstanding. Well, really, just the outstanding. The SEC filings would tell you a more accurate outstanding, and then you can judge the flow. But you can never really know the exact flow and the exact outstanding because they can tell you it's 39 mil, but they have um, more offerings coming in. Well, at least the outstanding will be correct for sure, but you would never know the actual float, because it may be 33.49 mil, but if they're dumping shares, they're taking away from that outstanding and adding it to the float, so you're not really sure. And they can dump shares at any moment they want, um, most of the time. So the float was 33.49 mil, um, with a 6 million difference in outstanding. Um, and when I looked at it too, at the yearly chart, it had um, it had this split right here of 1 for 25. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna move quickly because it's a low float. And then they had another split somewhere here. I gotta change the chart to see if I can find it. I seen two splits and I was looking. Yeah, here's the other split for a split for 120, and of course they diluted their shares. And then another split for 1 for 25. One share is, or 20 per 25 shares is one share now. So they had a split. So I knew going into this stock, um, looking at the yearly chart, um, I knew going into this trade or into the stock there's no overhead resistance here, because once they do a stock split, all the previous resistance and support is kind of like gone. I learned this from Roland Wolf, and pretty much this stock had no overhead resistance. And I know ticker symbol tops is tops and dries are pretty much the same company, and they're very well known for manipulating their stocks. I remember years ago where they did a lot of manipulations. So going into today, looking at the stock, I was trying to be extra careful trading it, because I know they did do a lot of manipulation, and I know before I even looked at the filings, I'm like, I know you motherfuckers have an offering somewhere. I wouldn't put it past you. Um, so when I looked into the SEC filings here it was right here, and this one had 166.6 million shares to dilute at the price of $12, up to and well, at $12 times 166.6 million shares. That's roughly $20 million. But they had this offering at um, 12 cents. This stock is now at and it's ridiculous because they make a lot of fucking money. Um, but this stock is now currently, when I was trading it, it was up in a 275. So you do the math, 1.66.6 million times 275, and that's how much money they're making off of nothing. They literally just go into, they get some lawyers to write up a paper, and they just they make shares out of thin air, and they can dilute it. So if I can remember how everything went down with this trade, I remember I longed it because I was anticipating that it was gonna go or just squeeze. But then I noticed this stock was doing the same thing as Hims and all these other stocks that I was watching. But I longed it for 400, and then I guess I bought another 400 shares or 800 shares here, and um, sold it here when I saw that it wasn't um, gonna break out or go higher. Now, when I can truly determine my risk, I will add a lot of shares, um, so that I can like make a quick nice profit. And I shouldn't be trading and thinking about the money, but when my risk is like I can clearly see my risk, and I guess kind of if I'm feeling disciplined, but not really a matter of feeling, but I'm clear on my risk. I add I go bigger, especially when I know the stock is going to uptrend, because this was a low flow and it was moving fast. But at some point here, I was up like 40. No, I was up like $150, and I didn't take it. This was the second time in a day I didn't take my $150, and there was a reason behind it. It wasn't like I was being greedy. I was trading the pattern. I was anticipating that it was going to spike up, go past a high a day, and possibly do a pullback like you see here and here and here before I got in 3 times. Um, but I was anticipating that it's just going to keep squeezing like it's previously done. But it didn't give me that, so I cut losses quickly. I cut losses. Um, I don't remember how much I was down here, but I guess I longed it here with 800 shares. Um, I'm assuming either this point or this point, I was up $150, or maybe I recouped all my losses from here. Um, and I was up probably $150 here or here, and I didn't take it when I had the chance. Like I saw that it was just gonna come crashing down, and I sold and made only $13. Of course, I could have shorted here and just ride this downtrending wave, but idealistically, now the stock is a first, not a first green day, but it's still green on a day. It has no previous resistance. Um, it's kind of like a first green day pattern, but well, it was actually Hims was the second green day. Let me look at the hourly chart. Yeah, so this was the kind of like the first green day, but this was at the highest point of its trend. Um, and not only that, I was going to short something similar to a first green day, um, a big one of the biggest percent gainers. I didn't really look at the catalyst, but it didn't have any overhead resistance, um, and it was at its highs. I mean, the shorting at its highs is good, but this didn't fit my pattern as far as first red days, and I'm not shorting with this much. Um, what is it called? Just know my risk was too high. Like if I shorted right here in the 30s, 230s, I had a $40 risk, 40 cent risk of who knows how many shares. You know, if that's 100 shares, that's a $40 risk. But I know I'm not going to do 100 shares, or a $45 risk, and I know I'm not going to do 100 shares or anything like that. So I didn't take this trade, and it went on without me. So that was the second stock I noticed was doing the same pattern. So um, after that, I continued to look for other stocks, and I noticed vxrt. Um, vxrt was uptrending, 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 and I'm like, if I'm right, this is going to do the same thing that every other stock is doing for the day. So I looked at the past history. It had resistance, overhead resistance, which is a good thing for shorting. Bad thing when I'm going long. Excuse me. Um, it had just broke this past high of 1249, and I guess the next point of resistance is, or major resistance is 1949. But I doubt that it was going to go that high. Not only that, I recall um, looking at the statistics. What is it? VXRT. Um, the statistic. Well, yeah, I remember looking at the news as well. I don't recall anything standing out to me. When I'm looking at the news, I'm looking for first what's the news on a day, um, and then I'm looking for any partnership or anything related to the sector or an offering. That's what I always look for. Those are three things: anything related to a sector, offering, partnership, and just any positive news that's relevant for today. These four things. Um, but then when I went to the statistics, or did I look at the statistics? Yeah, so it had. I remember looking at the statistics: 97 million float, with an outstanding of 109 million. So that was good for me to short, even though like there's so much volatility. Float is almost, I won't say irrelevant, but float is not a major factor because even if they have a high or low float, it's still gonna push up. So I kept that in mind. Um, then when I looked at the SEC filings, I don't remember exactly how everything went. This is hours after I traded it, but right here clearly it has a float, and I remember seeing this. So it had a float of up to 250 million shares. I mean, $250 million of shares. So that means they're gonna make maximum. They're gonna make is $250 million. They can dump as much as they want, up to $250 million. So like these companies are literally making money just because of nothing. This is why it's not really good to invest in the stock market unless you got like one stock that you solely understand, such as me investing in Nike. But these companies are doing so much manipulative things, and not only that, they can sell at any price they want. And sometimes, their contract is that the stock price has to be at a certain price in order for them to start collecting this money, which is dumping their shares. And if it goes below that stock price, they cannot sell anymore until they make the stock price go higher. So not all the time do they make this entire $250 million, but because if they dump too much too early, they lose their opportunity. Um, so when I saw this offering, I ain't really looking too deep into it, but of course it was dated July 8th. So you can look at the chart, the yearly chart. Um, July 8th is when they did it. So right here, they dumped it all right here. Probably dumped some more here, here, and here, here, and also here. So you can already tell, and also here. So you can already tell they're gonna dump right here for sure. Um, they're gonna dump. Like it's clear. Um, so going into today, uh, when I saw it just uptrending, 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 I'm like, okay, it's roughly midday. Um, all these stocks have been doing the same thing. I'm gonna take my short here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll push up. But I'm gonna take my shot. this this is gonna be a little fucked up here, but I'm like, man, I'm gonna take my shot and I'm gonna go in large. Not because, well, not large. 400 shares is not too much for me, but I went in and I'm like, price action was so clear to me. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna short. Um, my risk was practically 50 cent per share, but I'm like, I know it's not gonna do that, and if it does, I'm cutting early. So I actually mentally changed my risk to 1322, as you can see here, and this triangle pattern shows 1322 or 23. So that was my risk goal. So I entered at $13. So 0.23 times 400 shares is 0.23 times 400. It was roughly $100 of a risk, and I would never really risk $100. But by the judgment of price action and everything that I researched, I knew it was gonna come down. What the fuck? I hate when it does this. Please don't tell me it fucked up. I hope it's still recording here. Um, so when I shorted 400, it came crashing down. Um, right here, I did a fat finger mistake. I was trying to cover right here, like real shit. I was trying to cover right here, and I accidentally shorted an extra 400 shares. So I was shorting, and I actually it went through, and I accidentally shorted an extra 400 shares. So I was shorting, and excuse me, and I shorted, and um, I shorted, and it actually went through, and now I'm at 800 shares. I don't even remember what my average was, but I was just like, what the fuck? I made a mistake. I was trying to cover and accidentally added shares, and it started like uptrending a little bit, and I was down like a third to half of my shares, maybe a little bit more, and I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck did I just do? I meant to cover and I did the opposite. Um, and I was just like, man, the smartest thing for me to do is to just exit the trade now. But I'm like, let me be smart too and just give it some time. I'm up on my game. I'm up on this trade, so just give it some time. And if it goes down, then that's better for me. But if it starts to uptrend, I just got to cover and call it just break even or take a minor loss. So it started downtrending, and as soon as I was up more on my a little bit more on my 400 shares. I think I was up 10 cents because it was like my average became my entry was okay 12.31, and I exited for like a 3 cents difference. So I exited and I was like $300 gain, and it continued to downtrend without me. And I was gonna leave it alone for the rest of the day, but I knew it was gonna provide me opportunity, a bounce for me to short into, because ticker symbol HIMS and tops also bounced and provided an extra opportunity to short into the downtrend as they broke the uh, the support. So I was talking to someone and I had to pull away and go back to my computer, and I saw it. I saw that it it bounced. So I shorted 200 shares here, and as you can see right here and right here, I added another 200 here, and then another 400. So I was a total of 800 shares short. 800 was a bit higher than what I wanted, uh, but from the price action, it was telling me like, okay, it's gonna it's gonna it's gonna fade, and um, then it started bouncing. It passed my entry, and it went up to a high of 12.45. And my entry, I think it was at like $12 or 12.10. I think it was at like 12.10. And I didn't like that, honestly. I didn't like my average. I didn't like where I entered. But I thought it was just, I entered right here because I thought it was going to keep fading. But normally I would enter at a higher point. I would short into strength, cover into weakness. Um, but I didn't. And when it uptrended here, I was thinking, okay, if it breaks and goes even higher, I have to cover at some point. But I swear, judging by the price action, it wasn't going to do that. So I just kept continuing to be patient. And um, I would have to cover and give back some of my gains, or if not, all my gains. But I was willing to give back all my gains in order for me to profit. But I was not going to give any more. And I was in the red at some point right here for about $100. But like I said before, judging by the price action, it was giving me a positive sign. So it started downtrending. It went down to a low of 63. I was up roughly, and I was waiting for it to break past this lowest point of 11.55. But right here, I was up about 600 in total for this stock, and I did not take my gains. I'm like, I'm gonna follow my strategy, my plan, and wait for it to break past this lowest point of 11.55. So then it bounced back up again. I was like, what the fuck? I should have took it. But I'm like, that's not part of my plan. And then it came pulling back again. It went down even lower to 11.56, 1 cent away from where I was originally trying to cover. And I still didn't take that because I'm like, okay, let's see if it's going to hit 55, 54, 53, and so on and so forth. And I didn't take it. And I was like, fuck. And it uptrended again. Then it downtrended, and I was up like maybe 150 on top of my 300, and I still didn't take it. And I'm like, as I'm watching it downtrend, I'm like, okay, I should have covered. I should have covered and then short higher, covered short higher, all through this choppiness. Um, but I didn't. So I'm like, you know what? instead of waiting for it to just break the support right here, I'm gonna just cover right here, and then when it pops up again, I'm gonna short it again. I made an extra $200, and then if I short a bit higher, um, and it comes down again here, I just made another $200, and if it fades, um, I'll make even more. And that was my plan, but I should have done that here, not here where it actually finally eventually cracked. But yeah, I covered, and then it went down without me. It broke the support, went down without me. Intraday support actually went down without me. It was my loss, whatever. And I stopped watching it for the rest of the day. And then I took a quick peek at it, and it bounced largely. It went down. Well, before it bounced, it went down to 11.10. So the difference in that was what I was shorting at $12 with 900 shares roughly, from what I remember. So the difference was 90 cents. So zero point 0.9 times 900. I could have made it $810 on my trade. So that would have been an extra. That would have been a total of $1,100 for the day. But that's if I covered at the exact bottom. But it is what it is. I missed the major opportunity. I'm glad I came out on top, especially with my 2,500 loss earlier this week. Um, I'm making back a lot of it. But then it uptrended and it went up to 12.26. And like somewhere around here, I was watching. I'm like, I should short here and just possibly watch it trend. But it was too close to the end of the day, and I was afraid. I was afraid that it was gonna pull back and ended up spiking higher. So I was like, it's not worth the risk. I'm not comfortable with that. That's not my strategy. I never really done that before, even though I probably can, but I wasn't comfortable with it. Um, and then I came up with this another brilliant idea, but it's not really a brilliant idea, sarcastically speaking. Um, it was closing at $12 per share, and I was thinking, okay, with the last 1 or 2 minutes short, um, at around 12, and I know I know after hours it's gonna downtrend. At some point, it's gonna downtrend, and that's exactly what it did. Um, uh, I was thinking of shorting here, but I didn't, and then it pulled back to a low of 11.45. I'm not saying I would have gotten that much, but I was right for um, what I was anticipating. So ticker symbol HIMS, vxrt, and TOPS, TOPS, HIMS, and vxrt are all on my watch list for Monday. Um, I will do a scan. I will scan for other stocks and do my research on them for Monday as well. Um, but what can I say? I mean, I guess the lesson in all these three trades is recognize trends, recognize patterns, and take singles, not home runs. I did well in cutting losses, um, but today I did more of cutting losses intelligently versus cutting losses because um, my plan was to cut losses. I did have a bad entry, as I always do, but like right here when I was down like $90, if I were to cut, that's still following my plan, but judging by price action, I knew I was gonna be right. Um, so you want to cut losses quickly, but you also want to cut losses intelligently. There's a fine line between the difference. But I feel like I did pretty well today. I felt like I did pretty well today. Um, and the only lessons for me to learn is just continue cutting losses quickly, You know, recognize the patterns and take your gains. Don't go for home runs. And stick to my main strategies. Like this wasn't my main strategy, shorting a Green Day. Um, but the only reason why I shorted this Green Day was because of what I showed you here, um, offering a higher float, a higher float, and I saw every stock doing the same thing for the day, so that's why I shorted it. On any other day, I wouldn't do it. Shorting a Green Day, nah, I'm not gonna do it. And my thing is shorting first red days and shorting first red day bounces, and then longing on an ABCD pattern on a first green day, um, with a big percent gainer, catalyst, no overhead resistance. Um, of course, first green day, closing, it has to close at its highs, or it has to be near its highs or hit its highs, and downtrend. It has to have value, and it has to be a low float. Um, I need to write this down on my list. So I have a list of what I want to do to long a stock. So those are my three strategies. I need to remember to follow them, mainly focus on those. But if I see something else, I can trade it, but not too much. I can go. I have to go small size. But that's it. I did pretty well today. My total gains for the day was 553. Um, my gains yesterday was 350, or the day before yesterday. Let me see. Um, so my gains on Wednesday was 353, or $300. My gains yesterday was just $5. I don't know if I did a video on that or not. And then today is 553. Um, next week starts. Um, Next week starts February. I'm praying that I have a good month and that I trade accordingly and everything goes well.